Hey everybody, this is Tony over Class Eagles. Hope you're having a great day. One thing that I think players do a little bit too much of when it comes to looking at their own level of play is only focusing on the things that they think they need to improve on. Obviously, that's important, to look at, areas of the game that you want to get better at. But I think we spend a little bit too much time only focusing on those areas. There's a couple problems with that. One is that when you get a player evaluation from a coach or you're doing your own self evaluation, there's really nothing that you can't get better at. You typically hear from coaches, you got to improve your first touch, you need to improve your finishing, you need to work on your ability with your weaker foot, you need to have better movement off the ball, better vision. This is true for everybody. There's not a single player that that evaluation wouldn't be true for, because there's no ceiling to improve in those areas. You can always improve and get better at it. No matter what level you play at, you can always improve your first touch. You always can have better field vision. You can always move better off the ball. You can always be a little better at taking players on or finishing. So that's kind of always a given that you can improve in those areas. Obviously, there might be some things that you really need to spend more time on because maybe it's holding you back as a player. But at the same time, we don't spend enough time looking at, what do I do really well? What is something as a player that, maybe it's just, I don't always like to use the term gift or talent, but there are things that some players do exceptionally better than others. There's some things that just come more natural, they're more comfortable with. So it's very important for players to also focus on these areas. Let's say you're fantastic at turning with the ball and getting behind a player with your first touch. Now that'd be something you might be really good at. So sometimes a player will hear, well, you're very good in this area, and they'll stop working on it. When in reality, I think it should be a little bit of the opposite, where if they're excelling in that area, they need to spend even more time on it. Because maybe it's something that, that's going to be a difference maker in their level of play and something that they bring different to the table than other players. Instead of kind of looking and say, I'm already good at this and shying away from it, how can I be better? I'm already excelling in this area. How can I become unstoppable in this area? And that's, kind of what you look at really high level athletes and in all sports. It's very rare that players are just exceptional at every aspect of the game that they play. A lot of times what makes them exceptional or really good at what they do is because they have a few things that they do a lot better than everybody else. So the point is when you are working and trying to develop, it's not just focusing on things you need to get better at. It's also focusing on things you're excelling at and spending even more time there. Because whether you're a center back, a midfielder, a striker, a flank player, everyone has different qualities. Everyone has different things they're really good at. And that's what sometimes will be the difference for you as a player. That's what will help you kind of be above other players. You can do something that other players can't. You're exceptional in these areas because the goal is not to be good at everything, because then you're just average. What you really want to be is exceptional in a very few things and making sure that you have the skills required to do the other things the game asks of you, because that's what really special players do. The best players in the world, they're not exceptional at everything, but they're exceptional at a few things that is a difference maker for them. And when they step on the field, that's why teams want them on their team. That's why they can, impact a game, not because of what they do well, but the things they do exceptionally. So when you're looking at training, when you're working hard on your own with your team, don't just only focus on what you can't do or what you need to improve on. There are areas and times to work on those things and make sure that there's no deficits in your game. But at the same time, spend more time, spend the energy working on the things you're excelling at as well. Because again, sometimes as players develop and, everyone can really dribble, pass, shoot, turn, everyone has those kind of base fundamental skills. It's the exceptional things that players can do that help them stand out. So as players are growing and develop, let's make sure we're not just focusing on what we can't do, but also building on what we're gravitating to and having a lot of success with as well.